Blinking lights, blinky, blinky, blinking lights, blinking lights.
Blinking lights.
Yeah, blinking lights. Hi YouTube. Are you worried about this fall? People are going to be using the Wi-Fi. You've got folks working from home. You've got the kids all there going to be Zooming and e-learning. You're going to be on a Zoom call. You're afraid it's going to get dropped, and maybe that's already happened to you this past spring. Well, folks have asked me about what to do about their network so that these things don't happen. I'm going to show you how to set up your Wi-Fi and your internet so it's 100% reliable. First, you got to determine where's the problem. Is it your Wi-Fi or is it your internet connection? I'll bet you there's nothing wrong with your internet connection, but let's find out for sure. The first thing you got to do is run a speed test to determine if your internet connection brought by your provider to your house is fast and reliable enough to support the number of devices you have. And I'm going to say a general rule of thumb, I like 10 megabits per second per device, including phones, tablets, iPad, TVs, computers, Chromebooks. For everybody that wants to Zoom and watch YouTube and all this other stuff, you're going to want to have that kind of bandwidth. To run this test, you're going to need to connect directly into your internet provided device, your Wi-Fi router, using a cable from a computer. You can go to Amazon, you can go to Staples or Best Buy. I like Micro Center. I'll post a link down below where you can get a cable from Amazon. If you have a laptop, you can get a little adapter that's going to have like a little Ethernet connector, and you get a nice long 20-foot cable that's going to plug in like this. You're going to take the cable that I talked about earlier. You're going to find one of these 4 similar ports. It doesn't have to say Ethernet, and probably your ports are empty, but anyway. And it's going to go in with a satisfying click. Boom. So take your cable and plug it into the square jack, like so. If you don't have the proper port in your computer, you can get an adapter. One end comes with a port shaped like that. The other end comes with the USB port, which almost every computer will have. I don't know a computer that wouldn't. And you'll plug the USB port in. Windows should graciously create the drivers and get everything set up for you, and then you'll be able to plug it in and see life. Now we want to run a speed test on that computer that we just cabled up. So go to Google and put in speedtest.net. Very near to the top, you should see a speed test website. Click on it, and when you do, you'll see this window. It should start automatically. Let it do its thing. Here we can see I've got 80 to 90 megabits per second download. Then it's going to do the upload next. Some of the key numbers that you're looking at here is the ping times in milliseconds, and then the download and upload speeds. If your ping times are high, more than a dozen or 2 milliseconds, probably not so good. Also, your download and upload speeds, you want to have plenty of bandwidth. Like I said, 10 megabits per device that you have on your network. Okay, as our next test, we're going to want to bring up a command window. To do that, go to the lower left-hand corner of your screen to the search box and just type CMD. That will bring up a black window with some white lettering at the top. And run a ping to google.com like this. Ping www.google.com-t. Now you should see something come up like this where it's going to say reply from whatever, you don't care about that. Time equals how many milliseconds? 24 milliseconds? Not so bad. The critical thing is that it's consistent. If this thing jumps into the 80s, 90s or more, and then comes back down to 20 milliseconds, then that indicates a problem. Here's an example of some pings that start out looking pretty good, but then they start getting into some problems. They get up above 100 milliseconds. That could indicate that somebody else has come onto the network, maybe they're far away, and they're impacting your internet experience. When that happens, both of you are going to start having bad YouTube, bad Zooms, bad internet. So we just finished running our tests, and we have one of two possible scenarios. You've tested everything, things looked okay, but you know that when there are multiple people on your internet, you run into trouble. Sometimes it's intermittent. You just don't know when it happens, but things can be working 1 minute and suddenly you get a lot of stuttering in your Zoom or what have you. Or maybe you just ran those tests and your internet was bad. You know, the pings are high. It's not in the low teens. It's up there around 100 milliseconds or something. Or maybe your bandwidth is, 7 megabits per second or something like that. Okay, in the case of you just ran the test, and you ran it over the cable, then you need to talk to your internet service provider, because there's really nothing, there's nothing else that can be wrong. You've got a local computer, local cable, local router. The internet service providers is going to have to jump in there. You could have a bad cable, there could be some other strange things wrong, but call them up and work with them to troubleshoot the problem. However, if you're having intermittent internet problems, then there are some solutions that can help you. So, what are those solutions? Let's talk about it. First of all, I connect this cable to the laptop. This person tests the network speed. The Wi-Fi, the internet, AT&T, Comcast, everything is good. This person, basement person, by virtue of just plugging in that cable, they're fixed. They go, wow, guess what? This guy blinking lights on YouTube is a genius. Fixed my problem. I cable it up. Nice long 30-foot cable running along the wall. It's not very noticeable. Everything works. They're no longer on the Wi-Fi. They're no longer bothered. They're fixed. Now they can Zoom all day long. No matter what kind of lousy connections you have here, they're unaffected, because this is reliable. So they're no longer talking over it. These two people, however, are students. They can't have lousy internet. Okay, there are a number of different ways to solve this problem. You could put a Wi-Fi router up here. Maybe that'll fix your problem. You'll have to cable it up somehow. You could put two Wi-Fi routers. Everybody gets their own Wi-Fi router. Or you can use the different radio frequencies from this Wi-Fi device. The first, most direct, and perhaps the least elegant way to solve this problem is directly attaching a cable to the internet device. Problem is, it's not very elegant. You got a cable lying around, you can't walk around, etc., etc. But for a person who's working from home and has a desk, this might be the best solution. Easiest, make them very happy. You've got a Zoom, your Zoom can't go down during a meeting. It's going to be reliable. Okay, so that's number one. Okay, the second thing I might recommend is that people use different Wi-Fi frequencies on the Wi-Fi router. If you dig into it, you go on the internet, you're going to look on you're going to look on the back of your device. You're going to find a serial number or a model number, not the serial model. Excuse me. You're going to look for manuals talking about it, and it's going to tell you, oh, it's got 2 radios on it. There are different names for those radios, Wi-Fi names, and you'll have some devices attached to 2.4 and some of them attached to the 5. Depending on the importance of each one, is you may want to say, okay, well, Bobby and Sue, who work on schoolwork in the kitchen all day long, we'll put them on 5 because that's close to the Wi-Fi router, and we'll check it, we'll test it, they'll both run YouTube, everything works great. And anybody else who may be on the second floor, furthest away from the router, can go on 2.4. Maybe they roam around a lot. Maybe this is for all of our tablets, all of our phones. If those things break down a little bit, no big deal. So they go on the 2.4. This is for school. This is close. Now this doesn't penetrate walls as well as this one. So depending on that, you might want to say, well, schoolwork is on the second floor, so we're going to put them on the 2.4. Okay? All right. Okay, the third thing is a power line adapter. What's a power line adapter? It's one of these thingies. This one is by TP-Link. I actually got this on eBay. You don't need speed because the distance between your power line is going to affect the speed of the signal. So, you know, many megabits per second, blah, blah, blah. These guys are putting stuff, I mean, I don't care if it's got 100 megabits per second. You need reliability. I bought this off eBay because it was cheap. It was, you know, 5-10 years old, you know, last generation. That's fine. It's got a cable connector. You'll recognize this square cable. It's what we plugged our laptop into. What you do is you plug this, you're going to have two of these. Plug one of them into the wall near the Wi-Fi. Plug the Ethernet from this thing into the Wi-Fi router. Take this thing, you plug it in somewhere else in the house, wherever you want, where you're going to use it. You'll plug a computer into this cable. You hit where is that little button? You're going to hit a button on the remote side. Oh, I just saw it. There it is. You hit this cable, one of these lights is going to, this button, one of these lights will blink. You go to the other one, you hit the button, its light blink. They talk to each other. They say, hey, we want to talk. They both want to talk. They join up. They give you a secure connection. I hope it's secure through your house. Electrical wiring. This one is nice because it's got a little, you're going to use the wall socket, but then you could plug something into the back of it and, you know, run your laptop or whatever. We have 3 of these. One of them, always by the Wi-Fi router in the closet, and the other ones we put around the house nearby whatever we want to use that we want to have reliable internet connection. You can also do this. Get another Wi-Fi router, put it up on the 2nd floor nearby where you want to use it. Take this power line adapter and instead of plugging it into another computer, plug it into another Wi-Fi device. The Wi-Fi device is on the 2nd floor. It's going to talk to your router in the basement. I'm saying basement figuratively, basement in quotes. Wherever the network comes in, the internet comes in, those 2 devices talk over these power line adapters, and you've got good Wi-Fi upstairs, good Wi-Fi downstairs, and you're humming. Okay, there's another thing called the Wi-Fi mesh routers. What they do is you'll buy a kit that'll have a couple of devices in it. Somebody walks around the house, you know, from here in the kitchen, downstairs to the basement, upstairs to the bedroom, whatever. These things decide where your best connection is, and they will connect you. They'll hand you off from one to the next, your laptop or your tablet or whatever. They're also very good at sharing between people. If you have a bad connection, you have a good connection. They're very good about sharing between these two. So this poor connection here, maybe connecting to one of these routers, is not affecting this good connection. Okay? So what do I recommend for this family? Well, I'm going to tell you. You want something quick. You want something, you know, easy to put together. You don't want to be drilling holes, running wires, cables, anything like that. Okay, for this family, basement person, you're on the cable. If you want to move somewhere upstairs, that's okay, but don't expect to have your Zoom meetings far away from the internet router. It's not going to work for you. Then I take one of these devices, I plug it in downstairs, and I cable it. We're going to use this symbol. I'll put it somewhere in some room, a closet perhaps or whatever, somewhere with a socket, and I get another cheap Wi-Fi router. Boom. Now you'll have 2 frequencies here, you know, 2.4 and 5, and 2 frequencies here that you can deal with. This is the cheapest, fastest solution, in my opinion. Get this set up, and people can now walk around the house and do whatever they want on their own Wi-Fi without affecting anybody else. The problem with this solution is that it's a little manual. You have to know where your devices are, you have to know what network you're on, and maybe you want to switch them depending on if you move somewhere else in the house. You're going to check it out, you're not going to like it, whatever. This person up here can actually cable, if they're in school, cable their laptop or their Chromebook right into the Wi-Fi router, and again, you have a very reliable signal all the way out here. Now your cell phones and tablets, you're YouTubing, who cares? If you don't like the performance, well, move to another room. Switch Wi-Fis, stuff like that. Those are my recommendations. Another way you can solve the problem is with the mesh router. Here we have the TP-Link Deco M3. What you do is you plug the large unit into your internet Wi-Fi router and then plug the smaller units around the house in the areas where you're going to need Wi-Fi. This is a considerably simpler solution, but it's considerably more expensive. Setting it up is really pretty easy. There's an app that comes with it. There's instructional videos, so it shouldn't be a problem for most folks. But you know, it's a little bit over $100. This is the best one I found on Amazon with the highest ratings and the lowest price. Okay, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a very happy, healthy Wi-Fi and school semester. May all your bits not bite. And if you have any questions, I'm going to post in the bottom some links to resources where you can find out more information about how to solve your own internet connectivity problems at home during the pandemic, during work from home, and all that other stuff. Okay, thanks for watching. Have a lovely day. Bye. Stop. Period.
E-learning.
Thank you.
Zoom and e-learning, you gotta say.
All right, hit stop.